We are at the Crawfish River. This is actually the confluence between the Manesha and the Crawfish. There's people at the desired spot over there. So we're gonna fish at a slightly less desirable spot here. Hopefully we don't get snagged and we still have something left. And if those people ever leave, we're taking their spot. So let's see what we can get. Well, let's try casting here. Never fished this spot before. Only came in the winter once, and I couldn't get anywhere in the winter, so didn't really do anything. This slushy, reedy spot would actually be pretty decent for a bass to hide. But I'm not really sure if there's any bass here. I don't know how far I can get out. That is, I think, where those guys are standing. I think that's where the Manesha actually flows into the Crawfish. Maybe I should just cross over and fish on the other side if it's not too deep. Not really sure how deep it is there. It's probably like 3 or 4 foot deep, so I probably can't do it, but maybe we'll be able to cross over and fish on the other side. I think I got a pretty fierce bite on here. I'm pretty sure it's still biting. That just might be wind though that's blowing, but I thought I heard something. Not exactly sure. Is that a fish? Oh yeah, that is a fish. Awesome. Other than that, it's a giant tree stump. Nope, that's a fish. Oh, it's actually pretty decently large. That was the problem. That was indeed the problem. My hook was too big, I think. I think this is a white bass. I've been seeing a couple other people pull a white bass up. If it's a white bass, it's a pretty large one though. Is that a white bass? Is it a carp? Nope, it's a drum. Freshwater drum, Crawfish River. All right, at least I got a fish, probably like 2 pounds. 2 pounds, sheep's head. Not what I want, but I'll take it. First fish of the, oops, it slipped off. I got it, smaller baits on smaller hooks. That's what it takes out here. Usually the bigger the bait, the better they bite, but I guess it's not out here. I'm trying to get some white bass or some drums here. Let's toss this one way out, because they all seem to be way out in the river. Maybe I should have just gone as Tallinn on the Crawfish, but usually I only get freshwater drums there. All right, replacing, I think there's a fish on here. Didn't really hear it, but there's definitely a fish on here. What is it? It's oh, it's a catfish. Channel catfish. First fish of the day. Little channel cat. Not really much to talk about, but pretty nice. A little bit of a catfish. Not really a white bass or anything, but I'll take it. At least they're out. At least the catfish are out. Looking for something a lot bigger though. A lot bigger than that. It's not much, but I got one. A small channel cat. Hopefully we get something much, much bigger. Grande fish. All right, catfish. Too small for the boiler. I know you're croaking. See you, fish. All right. I've basically annexed this island since the people that were fishing here have left. This is kind of like where this little pond inlet flows into the Crawfish. I actually think this is the Manesha, and this is where it flows into the Crawfish River. So the confluence, there's actually a pretty deep pocket here at the confluence. I'm gonna toss over there and see if I can get any fish. I saw a couple of guys pulling some white bass out of here, so I'm hoping I can get one too. Something bigger pulled the line. Pretty sure it's it may not be a drum, but it's not getting off whatever it is. It's swimming pretty fast, which makes me think it's not a drum. Maybe it's a big fat white bass, not huge. I can feel it, it's not massively large, but it is a fish before dark, and I'm always grateful for fish before dark. If it's white bass, it's a pretty big one. Could be a drum though. Could be a drum. I know how deep the water there is, by the ways, because that guy's like up to about his hips, so it's maybe like 3 foot there. Just good enough to hide a big fish. Let's see what this is. Drums don't usually dart like that. Oh, it's a carp. Okay, it's a carp. Where's the net? There it is. Got to get my net. Carpio. And yeah, all right, we'll take a fish. I was wondering why these things didn't bite yet, because there's usually tons of them here. Not really the fish I'm after, but I'll take it. I'll take anything these days though. All right, Carpio, come here. Come here. It's like 5 pounds. It's not a big one. But yes, common carp. Carpio, probably like 2 pounds. Not bad, not bad. First serious fighter on the crawfish. So far we got 1 drum, 1 catfish, 1 carp. All right, just gonna let this guy go. Probably won't be biting many worms soon. All right, see ya, carp. All right, guys. This is a decent sized fish. Not a glorious sized fish, but decent. So we're gonna toss in the same place. Seems like they're out there, at least somewhat. So leave it out there and hopefully get more fish. My weights are actually strong enough to where they stay in place on the crayfish. And they don't really just get carried by the current all that much. So hopefully we can get something else that's just as big. There's this beautiful sunset here, by the ways. And it's quite nice. You can see that guy's like waiting out there, so it's waist deep out there. So not a bad place to fish. I think I got 1 more before the sun sets. I'm gonna stay here another night. I don't know if this is a catfish or a carp. I think it looks more like a carp, but that person over there just got a catfish, so I'm hoping it's Gato here. I haven't caught a big catfish outside of Madison and St. Louis this year yet, so catching one on the crawfish would be pretty good. It's definitely not a flathead by the way it's fighting. Just watching it be wrong. I think it's too early for flats anyways. I think it's more likely to be a carp, but carp and catfish do tend to take the pole the same way, but I think it is actually a carp. I don't have any meat bait. I think it's carp. Yeah, it's not a big one. Doesn't look like a big carp, but I think it's just a carp. Nope, it's a drum. It's actually a fairly large drum. Freshwater drum. I could use a smaller one for bait, but this is a rather large one. Like I would say it's a 2-pounder. So don't want to cut it, so freshwater drum. Nice drum, about 1.5 pounds. Very healthy, a very nice fish. Let's let this guy go. If it was a smaller one, I would sacrifice him, but this one's fine. It's big and I don't want to cut him, so he gets to go. See ya, drum. All right, gonna launch another worm out. That drum was pretty cool. Hopefully we can get something else. Looking for something more Gato. A flathead would be excellent, but I'll take a channel. Let me explain this before it gets too dark. So this way from this rock, near to me from that rock is very shallow, but it's at least 3-4 foot deep on the other side of that rock, between that rock and the other shore. That mill pond, that the side where the Manesha comes in is about 3 feet deep in the middle, just by those guys waiting. Out here, I'm not exactly sure how deep it is, but it's probably like pretty close to the same depth. This gap is actually the confluence between the Manesha and the crayfish. I think that's a big fish over there. Not sure, but it did not bite my bait, whatever it was. Oh yeah, yes, finally. Been wanting a fish for a very long time and I got one. I think this is either a drum or a carp or a catfish. You know, it wouldn't be bad if it was a white bass. I could just be guessing completely wrong, and I'm actually hoping I'm guessing completely wrong, but no, it is. Is that a white bass? Oh, that's a big white bass. Yes, I am completely wrong, and I'm very, very happy that I'm completely wrong. Nice white bass. Very, very nice white bass. Check that out. I should have been using these all along. It's probably like a pounder or so. Nice white bass. Nice little white bass, about 1 pound. Would make a nice meal. Good old white bass. All right, white bass, I'll throw you back. And off it basses off. See ya, bass. Fun trip. 4 fish, 1 lost. Actually, several lost after they bit. I found out the barbless long shank hooks actually work a lot better than my barbed circle hooks for those white bass. I probably got several white bass bites. There's actually quite a lot of white bass there right now. They'll bite on worms or minnows. I actually saw guys pull up a lot of white bass there with like little spinners. So that's kind of like what they're biting right now too. But worms or minnows would work too. Decent white bass haul for a lot of the people there, I think. I caught one. I got several bites, but they all got away. But it was a pretty fun trip. I saw a couple of people catch catfish as well. I only caught a small one, but I saw a pretty decent sized one being pulled up. And the usual suspects of carp and drum. So they're getting active there right now. Probably the best after like 1 more week. Maybe like the water won't be so high, you won't have to get so muddy, but a pretty good fishing spot overall. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. please feel free to ask in the comments about like fishing spots, and I will see you guys later.